Hello there. This is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how are you doing? As promised, and as highly requested as well, today in this ASMR maps video, I'm going to take a look at a paper map of France, or in French, La République Française. I'm hoping this video is going to be extremely relaxing. Lots of map tracing, soft-spoken, dipping into whispers. The crinkle of the map itself, and the sound of paper. So we're going to be taking a look at France. So I said before the Japanese video that I have a little bit of Japanese. I did some evening classes in Japanese and some self-study with some books at home. I kind of cringe when I say this. I used to teach French. Now, I cringe not because of any reason like I don't like French or I was embarrassed to be a teacher, nothing like that. But I was a Spanish teacher. And in the UK, they tend to make you do both French and Spanish. So I rocked up one day and I said, I want to be a Spanish teacher. And they said, that's absolutely fine, but do you speak French or German? And I said, at the time, this was nearly 20 years ago. And I said, I've got a bit of French and I don't speak any German. I didn't at the time. But they said, oh no, you've got to be able to speak one of those two. So anyway, I became a languages teacher, they call them in the UK. And I got to teach Spanish, but I got given a couple of French classes, particularly lower school, as in like what we have is year 7, year 8 and year 9 in the UK, which is 11 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14. And then they choose their options. And they do GCSEs, which are the exams. So I never taught those. The better French teachers taught those. I taught GCSEs in Spanish. But the Spanish teachers had to teach French, and the French teachers had to do Spanish. So yeah, that's the way it works in the UK. I don't think it works that way in the US or many other countries. I think you guys just like, you're a Spanish teacher, you have all your classes in Spanish, but in the UK that just like rarely happens. So, my French, although I used to be a French teacher, my French isn't perfect by a long way. I never did it in university, I never lived there like I did in university for my Spanish. And so I've always got a little bit of an inferiority complex in my French. So I hope that I pronounce, and also actually some of the place names are tricky to pronounce, so I'll do my best. I'm sure it'll be okay. But do feel like you can correct me in the comments. I would love to know the correct pronunciation. Okay, enough of that then. We're going to start. We start down here in Gironde and Landes. This, for context, is the southwest of France, and we can actually see the Spanish border here. So the largest town on the border, or city on the border, is Biarritz. It's a big rugby area, this is. And the Basque country is just there, so Biarritz is sort of like a Greater Basque country. Bayonne as well, really good for rugby teams down here. Pau is another big, excellent rugby team. And this says Pyrénées Atlantiques, so the Atlantic Pyrenees. And then we can see, as I said earlier, the Spanish border going across here, and it says Comunidad de Navarra, the Navarre community or state, province, whatever, and then it says España. So this is Spain. Honourable mention in this video to Andorra. Andorra is an independent nation, nestled in the mountains between France and Spain, and the capital of which is Andorra la Vella. And I believe the official language of Andorra is Catalan, but I would imagine most people speak pretty good levels of French and Spanish as well. And there are a couple of enclaves here of Spain. Here's one. So there are little areas across the border which still belong to Spain within France here. Okay, so let's focus on this southern region here. Like I said, we had Biarritz, Bayonne, Pau, and they are in the Pyrénées Atlantiques. Then in the Hautes-Pyrénées, you have Lourdes, Tarbes, Argel-Gazost, and then following this highway you've got Saint-Gaudens. Moving into Haute-Garonne, we can see Toulouse, massive city, look, in comparison to these at least. Nothing when we come to Paris, of course, but Toulouse down here. And then in Ariège, we can see Pamiers and Foix, Château de Montségur, Saint-Giron, and as we get close to the other coast, because that's the Atlantic coast over there, this is the Mediterranean coast. We can see Béziers, Narbonne, Carcassonne, and down here Perpignan, right on the border there. Barcelona's not far south. And these are the Pyrénées Orientales, the Eastern Pyrenees, with Prades here. Okay, so just above them we've seen Toulouse. Montauban is here in Tarn-et-Garonne. Agen, Lot-et-Garonne, Tarn-et-Garonne, Lot, Tarn, and Aveyron, just there, Aveyron. You can see Rodez here. Cahors, Castel-Sarrazin, Agen, Villeneuve, Slot, Marmande. As we go out towards the west coast of Gironde and Dordogne is here, Périgueux. Oh, sorry, Périgueux. I don't know, how do you pronounce that? Périgueux. Have you heard of that place before? Brive-la-Gaillarde, Tulle, Libourne, and then we come to Mérignac and Bordeaux. Bordeaux, very lovely area. It's very easy to get to the sea because of this river, and I believe Bordeaux is a very good wine region as well. not much of a wine drinker myself. Arcachon is here. And l'Esparmedo. Oh, just out of shot, look. There. Bergerac. Ici, Liborne Bergerac. Let's carry up. Let's carry on. And let's have a look. I'll get everything into shot here. So that was Dordogne, Corrèze, Comtal, Puy, Aurillac is there, Saint-Flour, and what's that? Clermont, is it? It's on the page. Yeah, it's Clermont, the large urban area there. Aubisson, Ussel, Les Monts d'Or. And in Haute-Vienne, there's Limoges, Roche-Chouart, monsieur, Bellac, Guéret, and this is in Creuse, and over here we've got Montluçon, just to the north of Clermont. And to the west of Limoges, in the area of Charente, we have Angoulême. And then Charente-Maritime. We've got Cognac. You may have heard of this place before. Sante, Saint-Jean d'Angély, La Roche-Courbon, and Rochefort. I'm imagining Rockford. No, Rochford. Isn't that a place in New York as well? Maybe I'm getting it wrong. And La Rochelle is here. La Rochelle is a very beautiful seaside area. Beach, nice area. I think the rich people like to go there. La Rochelle. Inland Niort. In Deux-Sèvres. Vienne is here with Poitiers. Can you see that? Poitiers. Parthenay, Niort, Boucon. And then in Vendée, La Roche-Sion and Les Sables d'Olonne. Sable is the word for sand in French. So that's the west or the southwest of France. Going to look at the southeast next. Let's put this down. Try to balance as crinkly nice is. Of making a loud noise. Okay, so we've had, where have we seen? We've seen Toulouse. So Toulouse was there, and we looked at the coast with Narbonne, Béziers, and then we got some very large urban areas coming up, and some very famous ones as well, and very beautiful. So we go up the coast. In Hérault we have Montpellier, and then in Gare we have Nîmes. Montpellier is supposed to be a lovely city. A lot of these are sort of, I don't say pre-antiquity, but like Privas, Valence, Drôme, Montélimar, and Vaucluse, Carpentras, Avignon, is here, a place called Orange, apparently, and Nyon, I know Nyon. And in the Ardèche we have Privas, Aubenas, La Jontière. You can also see the Lozère here, Mondé, Florac. And then, sticking to the coast then, we have Montpellier, Nîmes and Avignon. And down here we have Bouches du Rhône, Aris. This is an absolutely stunning coastline. We have the very famous Marseille. Marseille, very big city. Actually, I believe it was, even before the Romans, it was part of maybe the Phoenician Empire. So there's so much history. And there's a beautiful, I want to say, castle overlooking the sea. I've never been, but it's one of my, it's on my to-do list. It's definitely up there. Marseille, very beautiful. And then Aix-en-Provence is here. Brignoles, Aubagne, and then carry on down the coast. You have Toulon, Hyères. This is Var. Nothing to do with the football, VAR. I think that might mean Alpes-Maritimes, but I'm not sure. Alpes de Haute-Provence and Haute-Alpes, they're all similar named. And down here we've got some very famous places. Cannes, as in the Cannes Film Festival. Saint-Raphaël, Fréjus, Saint-Tropez, again, very famous beaches there. People will have their big yachts, the millionaires will have their yachts in Saint-Tropez. And then Nice. And then we have this strange occurrence of Monaco this year. Now, Monaco is the country, Monte Carlo, I believe, is the capital, but Monaco is so small, it's basically just the city of Monte Carlo. And of course we have the Grand Prix there. But technically, Monaco is a country, and it's not France, the way that Andorra is not France or Spain. So Monaco is a principality, I believe. Does it have a prince? I don't think it has a king. Menton is here. Saint-Rémy. Ah, okay, so now we are across the border. This is Italy, Italia. And actually, we can see the area of Piemonte, and Torino is here. So yes, this is now Italy. So next door to Northern they are. There was a point in time where Nice and possibly Monaco were actually that side of the border. And I believe someone once told me all of my trips in France have been to the north, to Paris, to Brittany, to Normandy. But someone told me that the French spoken around here is like a sort of hybrid. It sounds a little Italian at times. And that's historically one of the reasons why. Once we're here, we need to look at La Corse, in English Corsica, which is one of the three islands next to one another. So Corsica is really close to the Italian island of Sardinia, and then lower down you have Sicily. And Corsica has its own history. The language spoken on it is, I suppose it resembles Italian more than it does French in a way. So we have Ajaccio. I believe in the local pronunciation they would pronounce that as a ch sound, not in French. I believe it would be Ayasu. I've always just pronounced it Ayacho. Bastia and Calvi. Sartene, or Sartene, and Bonifacio. Off the top of my head, I think it was a part of the empire of Catalonia. I think off the top of my head there's some link there. There used to be a part of an empire with Barcelona's Catalonia area and the Balearic Islands and Corsica, and a part of even, I think, up to Napoli potentially was a part of this empire. But I haven't researched it enough. And then we have Corse, Haute-Corse and Haute-Corse and Corse du Sud, so Higher Corse and the south of Corsica. So going northerly, keeping close to the Italian border here, we have a place called Gap. Never heard of it before, but I have heard of Grenoble. Off the top of my head I feel, oh, you need to see that properly. Off the top of my head I feel Grenoble had something to do with a nuclear power plant at some point in history. I don't know if there was an issue with that. And Chambéry. Alec. Oh, hang on. So we got to be careful now, because we might be switching into Switzerland. The border here goes that way, so Geneva's there. Genève. Lausanne. Haute-Savoie, that's France. Saint-Chevet. Megève. Abbeville. So yeah, we have Chambéry here, and then as we go a little to the west, you can see the big city of Lyon, and Lyon is stunning. It's an old Roman settlement, and it's still got a lot of the architecture from that age. And we also have Saint-Étienne here, Saint-Chamond as well, Vienne, Roanne, is it Masson or Mâcon? Bourg-en-Bresse, and Long, I believe, Long-le-Saunier. Okay, just going a little bit to the west, back to Clermont where we were before. So we have Moulins, windmills up here in Allier. Saône is here with Monceau-les-Mines, Charolles, Lyon, Château-Renaud, and Tournu, sorry, it's an O-N, not an M, Tournu, Fléchère. Is Fléchère something to do with arrows? I think une flèche is like an arrow in French. So Saint-Étienne there, Le Puy-en-Velay, dans les Haute-Loire, le Haute-Loire, Issy-Njou, and yeah, we've seen Clermont, Vichy here as well. Okay, so that's the south covered. I'm going to turn it over without the camera because it'll be a little bit noisy. We'll look at the north next. Okay, so now we're going to start from the of this map, southwest. So we are looking at Switzerland here. We have Bern, Basel, and in the French side of the border we have Mulhouse, Belfort, Besançon. And you'll know best place if you like your mustard. This is Dijon in the Côte d'Or. Weird, it should be called Côte d'Or, the coast of gold, the golden coast. There's no water anywhere near, it's like the middle of the country. And we will see Troyes in the Marne-Lube, Aube, Troyes here. Vitry-le-François, Auxerre in the Yonne, Nièvre, Montargis, and quite a lot of you I think will be familiar with the next place name. It is Orléans. So New Orleans comes from people who would have lived there and named it after Orléans. Not Orleans, unfortunately, it's pronounced Orléans, which is in the Loire. Montargis is here. Ici, Bourges. Cher, Bourges, Vierzon, Cosne-Cours-Loire, Nevers, Auxerre, Château-Ginon, Autun, Le Creusot, Chalon-Saône, there was Dijon, Chaumont. So going up the east coast, we have Nancy over here in the Meurthe, Moselle. Moselle is a very beautiful area that carries on into Germany. And talking of Germany, we can actually see the border. So there's the border. Strasbourg is there. Bas, Rhine, the lower Rhine. Molsheim. I stated in a previous video not too long ago that lots of places around here have German names because the border moved. It was over there at some point. Molsheim, Sélestat, Königsburg, Ribeauville, Colmar. I can't read that, does it say Guebwiller? And we can see, it says here Deutschland, Rheinland, and we have Luxembourg. So just going up to Luxembourg, we have Metz, Boulay-Moselle. Metz is there, Saarbrücken is there, within Germany. Metz is here, Briey, Thimonville is at Thimon. Dion is an H, Thionville. And if you go a little bit to the west now, we see Châlons-en-Champagne. So Hans is here. God, it took me so long to be able to pronounce this name properly. I've tried everything. Reims, Rams, Hans, apparently. Epernay, Château-Thierry. I believe this might be Champagne area. And if you have champagne from any other area, it cannot be called champagne. It has to come from this region if it's the right one. So you have Laon in the Isthmus, Saint-Quentin, and then as we go more northerly, you can see what I'm avoiding, can you? It'll take a while to explain it. Saint-Quentin, then we have Avesnes, Selp, Maubeuge, Valenciennes. Now this border is with Belgium. La Belgique. We can see Brussels here, Bruxelles, Charleroi, And here, right on the border, is Lille, along with Roubaix, Mouscron. Actually, I think Mouscron is that side of the border, isn't it? Tournai. Ah, that's in Belgium. This is Calais Nord. Lyon is here, Lons. Arras. And then go out to the coast. We're on, this is the La Manche, the English Channel. So we have Dunkerque. And the Pas du Calais is here, Saint-Omer. You can see the Belgian coast, Ostende is there. Lille, Lons, Arras. Amiens is just here. In the Somme, Oise, Beauvais is here, Amiens, Saint-Quentin. And then, of course, all roads lead to Gay Paris. So, absolutely massive. Melun, Fontainebleau, Etanip. Now some of these are difficult to read. Torcy, Créteil, Méo, Pontoise, Nanterre. Can't see what that ends. Saint-Denis. Paris, in the middle there. All these ring roads around it, like Versailles is here. So to the north, west of Paris, we have Rouen. As well as Le Havre. In the Seine-Maritime. Évreux in the Eure. We have Eure-Loire down here. We can see Chartres. Mortagne au Perche. Ma mère. Argenton, Métavie. This is the Calvados, Orne. Where we see Caen. Yes, not Cayenne, unfortunately, it's Caen. So we have Deauville, Cabourg, Le Havre, Caen, Saint-Loup. You can see that, Saint-Loup. And then just a bit down here we have Le Mans. I believe there's quite a good, is it motorcycle racing thing going on there? And that's in the Sarthe. And down here in Indre, Loire and Indre, we have Tours. And to the west of that we have Angers in Maine-et-Loire. Angers, La Flèche, is that an A or an E? Laval. Mayenne in the state of Mayenne. Ségré, Cholet, Bressuire, Châtellerault. And down, I think I missed this earlier on, Châteauroux is down here, just south of Bourges. I missed the north, for the northernmost part, out to Dunkirk. You have Calais, which is where Calais to Dover is how you get from England to France, either by boat or through the Channel Tunnel. Well, Folkestone technically goes the Channel Tunnel to Calais. Boulogne-Mer, or Sur-Mer, Le Touquet, Paris-Plage, Abbeville, Montreuil-Mer, Montreuil-sur-Mer, Saint-Lô-Mer. And then you got my favourite bit of France. Or bits, I should say. Just out of shot. To the north. No, you can't see it there. You can see the southern coast of England, Bournemouth, Portsmouth, Brighton. Okay, so this is Normandy. Here is Manche. And Cherbourg is here. And Coutances, Amby, Saint-Lô, Vire, Avranches. And then here, just sneaking into the border of Normandy from Brittany, is Le Mont Saint-Michel. I went there, it was absolutely amazing. It's basically a castle on an island that sometimes is unreachable because the water covers the road to it. It looks like something from, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, or it's like, it reminds me of Minas Tirith in a way, but without the high walls. Le Mont Saint-Michel's there. And then, so I love Normandy, but my favourite is Brittany. Several reasons, because I visited there and I loved it, and secondly because Brittany is named as such because of culturally and historically that's where the Celtic tribes fled from Wales and Cornwall to come and flee the Vikings when they invaded Britain. So the language spoken in some parts is actually closer to my language of Welsh, much, much closer than it is any way related to French. So yes, there's a language here called Breton, and I can understand bits of it as I'm a Welsh speaker. So Saint-Malo is here. I learned when I was doing my degree in Spanish that the boats that sailed, the first people to find the Falkland Islands, were from Saint-Malo, and I believe they were called something. Maybe they were called Saint-Malo when they were, before the British took them. Anyway, so Saint-Malo is there. It's a big port. Dinard, Fort-la-Lette, and then the very big in the Ile. What's that say? Ile et Vilaine. We have Rennes. And then Redon, Vannes, Auray, Morbihan, Pontivy, Lorient, Belle-Île, Lorient, Quimper, Concarneau, Châteaulin, Douarnenez. Some of these names now are quite Gaelic. Douarnenez. We have Brest, Ile, Douzon, Pont-de-Rhin, Île-de-Seine, Morlaix. Mor would be the word for sea, I believe, in Breton, perhaps. Lannion, Perrault-Guirec, Guignon, and Saint-Brieuc. finish off, we've got, so we've done Le Mans, we've got Le Val, we've done that. So the Loire Atlantique, we have Nantes, which is sort of like Greater Brittany. I think Nantes is sometimes included in Brittany. I believe, I might be wrong. Saint-Nazaire, Saint-Herblanc, La Chapotterie, Cholet. I think that's everything. So as long as I didn't totally butcher the French names, cross my fingers, I hope I didn't. I only just figured out halfway through the video that that S in place names meant sur, like upon. In English you say upon Thames, upon Avon. So there we are. That's the very long-awaited video on La République Française, on France. Oh, honourable mention actually to Guernsey, Jersey, and Alderney, which owns Sark as well. These are the, curiously, despite their distance from France, they're not part of France. They're not technically part of England either. They're the Channel Islands, which I think are I've done this before in a video and I can't remember, a protectorate of the United Kingdom. So they use the British pound as their currency, but I think there's weird things there, like you don't have to pay tax to the UK government, so certain things are like tax-free, like if you wanted to buy a mobile phone, an iPhone, it would be cheaper there than it would be in the UK, for example. But I heard something like, if you wanted to, you can't just live there if you're from the UK. You have to like be invited there formally to stop people from like just randomly coming and moving there. The capital is Normandy. And I think off the top of my head they were occupied during the Second World War because they were so close to get to. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, then why don't you click a like for me? That would really help the old algorithm. And click subscribe if you're new. If you love this format, lots more coming. We're going to do South Africa next. We did Japan last week, and I've recently done Italy and Germany, so look for those videos. I'll put one of them here for you. Click that next. If you love what I do, join me on Patreon for 2 extra videos a month. And I will see you again very soon.